Let me ask you a question. If I told you there was a customer that spends billions, trillions of dollars every year on products, services, training, technology, construction, consulting, landscaping, marketing, everything that you can think of, would you want to know who that customer is? Guess what? You already know them. You just never thought about them this way. Welcome back. I'm Law, and this is The Game They Never Taught Us, the series where we discuss influence, leadership, business, community, opportunity, and how things actually work. Now the big reveal. Drum roll. Who is that customer? It's the government. Oh. And not just Washington, D.C., not just Congress, your city, your town, your school district, your state, federal agencies. They're all buying things every day. Think about it. The grass at City Hall doesn't cut itself. The computers don't magically appear. The training doesn't teach itself. The roads don't pave themselves. Somebody gets paid. Now, quick question. If your city had to buy something tomorrow, what would it be? Think about it. Drop your answers below. Now, most people hear government contract and they immediately think Lockheed Martin, Boeing, huge corporations, millions of dollars. And yes, those opportunities do exist. But that's not the whole story. The reality is the government buys many things, such as janitorial services, landscaping, catering, printing, consulting, IT support, coaching, training, marketing, photography, video production, and the list goes on and on and on. Thousands of other services. The government isn't buying contracts. The government is buying solutions. And I'll be honest, a few years ago, I didn't know any of this. Like many people, I thought government contracting was for somebody else. And then life does what life does. The company that I was working with, I was in the solar industry. Great industry, by the way. Shout out to my people. And we were growing. We were growing fast. And in my consulting experience, I felt that we were going too fast. And eventually, as that saying goes, all good things come to an end. The big, beautiful bill, and understandably so, made a couple adjustments that made our investors pull out. Our partners could not get paid. The employees could not get paid. The company went bankrupt. So I found myself in a position. What do I do next? Now, prior to that, I was already in this space of wanting to be more independent. For years, I had worked in corporate for many different organizations and companies, large to small. And I found myself learning through all these companies and realizing I think I can do something like this myself. So when this opportunity presented itself, I then found myself with another decision to make. Do I jump back into the corporate pool, or do I try to learn how to become an entrepreneur? I chose the latter. And on that journey, I was introduced to much. And if you've been following along, you've been learning my journey. And this is another stage of it. I came across a company called GovGizmo, and they introduced me to this government contracting space. They're bid writers, where they started. And they have a whole team, lead generation. I'm on the consulting team. And what we do is we contact small businesses who are desiring to add another lane of cash flow, of revenue. So in this learning, I began learning this new world. I began realizing that, wait a minute, cities need vendors, states need vendors, federal agencies need vendors. And many of those vendors started as small businesses. I have the wonderful opportunity of contacting and speaking with many different small businesses. And I'm talking about businesses that just started yesterday to businesses that have been in business for over 20 plus years, family-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses. And there are so many different ways in which the government works with small businesses. So if I may share, let's say you are a small business and you're woman-owned. Did you know that the government has to set aside a certain amount of contracts for women-owned businesses? Now, let's say you're new to the government space. You don't really know exactly what to do and how to navigate, but you get your feet wet. You have begun your sam.gov profile, or you signed up with the SBA profile. And there's many others. Well, if your profile is visible, and that's something that GovGizmo can help you with as well, you can then be introduced or contacted by some prime contractors. Now, prime contractors are, as the name says, prime. They're larger contractors who have been in this game for some time. They may be so large that your niche is not something that they do, but they won the contract. They may then locate and find you, and then the contract may say part of this contract has to be sold to a woman-owned business. They may not be a woman-owned business, but if they subcontract you to do part of the work, now everyone is happy. Now everyone gets to eat. It is truly a team effort, but it's also a network effort. And we're going to discuss that a little bit more. So when we think of government opportunities, we're going to simplify it. Think of school, right? Imagine a school, and a school needs desks, books, computers, software, security, landscaping, maintenance, training. Got it? Now, multiply that by an entire city. Now, multiply that by an entire state. Now, multiply that by the federal government. That's how this works. And here's where many people get stuck. They think, I don't know enough, or my business is too small, or I don't have connections. Maybe, maybe not. But I can tell you one thing. If you don't know that the opportunities exist, you'll never pursue them. And as I mentioned in the beginning, the government spends billions to trillions of dollars every year on these services. Now, here's another lesson. The government contracting isn't just paperwork. Remember, I mentioned networking. The government contracting process is also about relationships. People do business with organizations they know. People do business with organizations they trust and understand. Now, this is why networking matters. That's why showing up matters. That's why community involvement matters. Because many of these prime contractors, many of these award officers are in those rooms that we have been discussing this season during this segment. So imagine if you are a small business learning and you're regularly going to these meetings and someone sees you and they just spark up a conversation. Hey, my name is Lost or Devant. Who are you? You introduce yourself. Nice to meet you. The notorious question. So what do you do? Now you have the opportunity to pitch your small business. So imagine if you had a landscaping business. Oh, I have a landscaping business. Really? What's the size of your equipment and your team? Oh, it's just me and my three sons. We have a ride-in mower. We have a trailer. We do cleanup. We do I used to have a landscaping business back in the day. Really? Do you ever do government work? Oh, I'm not aware of that realm. Oh, would you be interested in doing government work? Of course. Tell me more. Information can be exchanged. You can discuss it over coffee, over a Zoom meeting, whatever. But because you were present, because you were curious, because you were willing to converse, now your network begins to expand. Now you get to learn. Now you get introduced to a lane that perhaps you didn't even know existed. And one thing I can also tell you, another positive of working with the government, they always pay. That's one thing you can be guaranteed, that if you get a government contract and you deliver, you will be paid. Now, granted, they pay a net 30 terms, so you have to make sure your cash flow is set to cover that. But if you can manage that with your business, now imagine landing 3-5 contracts a year annually. And then you still, that's going back to the landscaping business, you're still doing residential, some other commercial work. Now you can start beginning to see how that government lane can start really adding to your pipeline. And I'm grateful to be able to have the opportunity, again, to work with this government contracting company. They have this cool database. I'm able to see exactly how much money each industry is paying out or getting paid by the government. Oh. So again, depending on your industry and depending on your location and your niche, the government contracting lane may be a lane that you want to educate yourself on. Now, some people spend years looking for customers online while ignoring the customers in their own backyard. And this is where, as you've been noticing the trend, I mention AI in every one of these segments. Because again, AI is not going anywhere, and this is how AI changes the game. You ready? Imagine being able to find opportunities, summarize solicitations, draft capability statements, analyze RFPs, research agencies in minutes. That's what AI can do for you. Now, when we speak of opportunities, I'm going to give you a high level scope. There are over 3,200 different portals that you and I can go to find government, local, state contracts. 3,200 with the database that I am privy to with GovGizmo, but also with AI. You have an opportunity to condense those portals significantly. Then within that space, solicitations, there are a lot to read. There are a lot of terms, there are a lot of qualifications, requirements, softwares. I talked with a gentleman today, their company spent $14,000 on software alone just so they can be more prepared for the government contracting space. Now, some may say, I don't have 14,000. You don't need 14,000 if you know how to utilize AI appropriately. Or you work with companies like the company that I mentioned and others who do work with the government space and do work with these solicitations so they can narrow down that search for you. Now, there's an Apex Accelerator, is a government agency that gives free consultations to small businesses. I actually just reached out for my businesses, got assigned a counselor, and I'm going to be doing a webinar in a week from now, and then we're going to be doing our one-to-ones weekly, where they give you free game. They introduce you. They walk you step by step. You have questions, be curious. All of this information and all of these resources are available to all of us. Now you know. And I encourage you to get more familiar, and I encourage you to play and allow yourself to be curious. And I'll also be completely transparent. There were moments, and I'm sure there will be many more moments, where it felt overwhelming. When you're creating your SAM.gov profile, there's a lot of information that they're asking you. And for someone doing it on their own, it could again feel daunting. But that's also where AI came in and assisted your boy lovely. And I use Claude and I use ChatGPT. And between those two, I was able to build my own capability statement. I was able to determine exactly the nexus codes that my businesses fall under. I was able to also get a directory of all the purchasers within my area, of all the portals and who I need to reach out to on the state level, the local level, and the federal level. Like, you can go as deep as you want to. Just we have to do the work. Faith without works, right? Now, I want to share the biggest secret. All right, you ready? Most opportunities, like when we think of bidding, right? Most opportunities aren't won by the smartest company. They're won by prepared companies. And what do I mean by prepared? I mean companies that are prepared before the opportunity appears. Companies that are prepared before the meeting happens. Companies that are prepared before the RFP gets released. Now, some folks may be asking, Law, what does this have to do with erotic intelligence? If you've been following me, you know my next answer. Everything. Why? Because opportunities are like relationships. Some people wait until they're desperate. Then they start paying attention to their significant other. Smartest people build relationships daily on a cadence before they need them. The smartest businesses prepare before they need the contract. Same principle, different room. And this is bigger than money. Money is great, but this is bigger than money. Because government contracting creates jobs, more jobs, partnerships, community impact, economic development. If a business grows, more employees get hired, families benefit, communities improve. This is why this matters. And I know we live in a world currently where some folks are not happy with our government. But I'll tell you, the more and more I'm learning about the US government and how it works and how fair it is, it really, really makes me appreciate this country a lot more. Just like those folks who are able, like myself, to travel outside of this country, it's something different when you're outside of this country and you get to see how other countries operate. Like they're saying, you don't know what you got until it's gone. You begin having a new appreciation for home. And then when you're outside of the country and you come across another American, it hits different. Sometimes we take for granted the freedoms that we have here. And the same goes with the government contracting space. Let's say, again, you're a woman-owned business. Let's say you're a veteran. Let's say you're a minority. Again, there are set-aside contracts that have to be won by a woman-owned business or a minority-owned business. The fairness is programmed so that everyone can get a piece of the pie. There are two paths you can think of. You have 66% of government contracts are available to the public. You and I can go on those 3,200 portals. We can locate the solicitations. But then the other path, 33%, are private, and only award officers have that visibility. But again, this is where that networking piece comes in. Those award officers could be in your backyard. Those award officers could be your neighbor. Now they know what you do. They know you personally. They trust you. They may be able to introduce you to an opportunity of a lifetime. The more you know, wisdom is power. Now, if you are a business owner, here's my challenge to you. Challenge. Spend 1 hour this week learning. That's it. Just 1 hour. And sometimes when people hear 1 hour, they think or they feel, I don't have 1 full hour in a day that I can dedicate. Split it up. Compound your days. Compound your weeks. 10 minutes on Monday, 20 minutes on Tuesday, 20 minutes on Wednesday. You get it, right? Just dedicate for yourself 1 hour this week or next week and research, learn. Specifically, research your city's purchasing department. Research your state procurement portal. Research sam.gov. And that's Sam, S as in Sturdivant, A as in Apple, M as in Mary. sam.gov. And when you're on these websites, don't bid, don't panic, and don't overcomplicate it. Just learn. And for those folks that are utilizing AI, if certain terms, acronyms come up and you're not sure what they are, right click, look up, or copy and paste, create a path. Call it government bidding, government learning, whatever you want to call it. And then just prompt AI to teach you what it is that you desire to learn. The hidden money isn't hidden because it's secret. It's hidden because most people never look. That's not you anymore. Hey, this has been The Game They Never Taught Us, the hidden money in government contracts. The opportunity may not be hidden. You may have simply never been shown where to look. Now you know. To my business owners, what industry are you in? I'm curious. And have you ever considered government contracts? Drop your industry below. And if you want to learn more, DM me. All right? Take care, y'all.